Hello again, folks. Welcome back to Max's Cards and Dice Dugout. This is episode number 37, and we're returning to time travel baseball and the 70s rival series between the Mets and the Phillies using Daniel Forcier's wonderful-looking cards. If you're interested in more information about Daniel's cards, you could reach him at the Time Travel Baseball Game Facebook group, and I will leave a link to that in the description for this video. This is Game 5. The Mets lead the series 3-1. The Phillies need to win this to keep this series alive and head back to the vet. Let's take a look at the starting lineups for the Phillies. Leading off, second baseman Dave Cash. Right fielder Bake McBride bats second. Mike Schmidt bats third. He's at third base. Greg Luzinski bats fourth. He's in left field. Del Unser, first base, bats fifth. Gary Maddox in center field bats sixth. Tim McCarver's behind the plate. He bats seventh. Larry Bowa at shortstop bats eighth. And batting ninth and pitching is left-hander Steve Carlton. If the Phillies needed to have anyone carry them, it would be this guy. And he is a dangerous hitting pitcher, so we'll replace his card with the dangerous pitcher's hitting card. Now for the Mets, leading off, Tommy Agee in center field. Felix Millan bats second. He's at second base. Cleon Jones bats third. He's in left field. Dave Kingman is batting fourth. He's in right field. Wayne Garrett, third base, bats fifth. Art Shamsky, he's at first base, bats sixth. Jerry Grody's the catcher. He bats seventh. Bud Harrelson bats eighth. He's at shortstop. And batting ninth and pitching is right-hander Tom Seaver. Now, both of these pitchers are workhorses, so they will not be subject to the rules of 5 for fatigue. However, if the situation merits it, they will come out of the game. Now, Seaver is a normal hitting pitcher, so we'll replace his card in the lineup with the normal pitcher's hitting card. All right. So do or die for the Phils. Seaver finishes his warm-up tosses. Dave Cash steps up to the plate, and we are underway. You know what? We're going to use that roll, but I did not shuffle the gamble cards, so we'll give them a shuffle and a cut. All right, so we got a 2-2 for Cash. Either way, it's going to be an out, but we'll flip the card, and it's coming off of the batter's card. So Cash lines out to third baseman Wayne Garrett for out number 1. And there's one away. Here's Bake McBride. And we have a 7 coming off of the batter's card. It's a flyout, a line flyout to right fielder Dave Kingman. And he snags that for out number 2. Michael Jack Schmidt. Been pretty quiet this series. We have a 7 coming off of the batter's card. It's a high fly out to center fielder Tommy Agee. He's underneath that, makes the catch for out number 3. And the Phillies go quietly 1-2-3 in the top of the first. After 1/2 inning of play, it's the Phillies nothing and the Mets coming up to bat. Lefty Carlton takes the mound. He'll face Tommy Agee, Felix Millan, Cleon Jones, and Dave Kingman if anyone gets on base. All right, we have double 3s. And it's coming off the pitcher's card. It's a high fly out to center fielder Gary Maddox. He's underneath that, makes the catch, and there's one away. Here's second baseman Felix Millan. And we have a 5 coming off of the batter's card, and that's a single. So 1-out single for Millan. He is not a fast or daring runner, so we can't send him. So we got a man on first with nobody out, or excuse me, 1 out, and here's Cleon Jones. And we have a 9 coming off of the batter's card. It's a sharp ground out to shortstop Larry Bowa. And first base is occupied. It's a double play. So that's going to go Bowa to Cash to Unser for a Rowley-killing double play. And the Mets are retired. And after 1 inning of play, we have no score. Seaver comes back out. He's going to face Luzinski, Del Unser, Gary Maddox, and Tim McCarver if anyone gets on base. We have an 8 coming off of the pitcher's card, and that's a strikeout. It's the first strikeout of the game and the first one for Seaver, and 1 out here in the top of the second. And I don't know why I'm marking it on Dave Kingman's card, but I am. There's 1 out, 1 strikeout for Seaver. Ay. Okay, here we go. Del Unser with 1 away. We got a 9 coming off of the pitcher's card. It's an infield pop-up to shortstop, Bud Harrelson. And he's underneath that, makes the catch for out number 2. Center fielder Gary Maddox. And we have an 11 coming off the batter's card, and that's a single. That's a single for Maddox with a plus sign, so we're going to have to check for a steal here because we are using the advanced runner reaction board and the advanced strategy charts. Okay, so we're going to roll here. And we get double 4s. And double 4s, it's safe plus error. So catcher's throw, Grody's throw, sails into center field. Gary Maddox steals second base, and on the error moves over to the third. So the Phillies have a runner in scoring position on the E2. And we'll mark 1 error up here for the Mets. So Maddox is on third with 2 away for Tim McCarver. It's a chance for the Phillies to get on the board. And we have a 5 coming off of the pitcher's card. And that's a strikeout. And that's strikeout number 2 for Seaver. And that dashes any hopes for the Phillies here in the top of the second. So after 1.5 innings of play, it's the Phillies nothing and the Mets nothing. Steve Carlton comes back out. He's got to face Kingman, Garrett, and Shamsky. And we have a 3 coming off of the batter's card. That is a walk. So I got to do a little bit of fudging here. That's a walk. It's not an out. Okay, and we got the plus sign. All right, so once again, going to look on the steal chart. And we got a 4. And a 4 is roll the dice. Okay, defensive dice plus the catcher's throw rating versus the runner's steal rating. Okay, so Kingman's run rating, he's fast. He's considered a 1, I believe. I want to just double check that in the rules. I believe a fast runner is considered a +1. Yes, I believe so. So we're going to go with that. All right, so Kingman's a +1 because of his fast rating. And we need to look at Tim McCarver. And McCarver is a 2. So McCarver's a 2. I guess I could have got that right off of the score sheet here. So we're going to roll the die. The green die will represent Kingman. The red die will represent McCarver. McCarver's a +2. Kingman's a +1. Whichever one is higher, that'll determine who's successful. All right, so that's going to be a throw out by Kingman. Attempts to steal second base. He's thrown out by Tim McCarver for out number 1. He's caught stealing. All right, so there's 1 away for the Mets here in the bottom of the second. And we have Wayne Garrett coming up to bat, the Mets' third baseman. All right, we have an 8 coming off of the pitcher's card, and that's a strikeout. First strikeout for lefty in the second out of the inning. And that's going to bring up Art Shamsky, the first baseman. And we have a 5 coming off the batter's card, and that's a single. It's a 2-out single for Shamsky. So he's on first with 2 away. And Jerry Grody. And we have double 3s. It's coming off the batter's card, and that's a walk. So we have first and second with 2 outs for the Mets and Bud Harrelson. Bud Harrelson, who has hit a 3-run home run in this series, I believe 2 games ago. And we have a 6 coming off of the batter's card. It's a chop ground out. Back to the pitcher, Steve Carlton. He goes over to Del Unser. 1-3 put out for out number 3. And the Mets threaten but do not score. And after 2 innings of play, we're tied at 0. All right, Seaver back out. It's got Larry Boa, Steve Carlton, and back to the top of the order. We have a 6 coming off of the pitcher's card. That's a sharp ground out. Back to Tom Seaver. Over to Art Shamsky for out number 1. 1-3. Here's Steve Carlton. Lefty's a dangerous hitter. At least he was in 1972. All right, we have a 6 coming off the pitcher's card. That's a sharp ground out. That one's going back to Seaver again. Comebacker. Once again, over to Art Shamsky for out number 2. And we're back to the top of the order for the Phillies and Dave Cash with 2 outs. And we have a 10 coming off of the batter's card. That's a short single with a question mark. They're both righties, and that's a strikeout. So that's strikeout number 3 for Seaver. And the 3rd out of the inning. So the Phillies go 1-2-3 in the top of the 3rd after 2.5 innings of play. No score. Lefty Carlton comes back out. He's going to face Seaver, Agee, and Mian. And we have an 8 coming off of the batter's card. That's a sharp ground out to shortstop Larry Boa. Over to Del Unser for out number 1. Top of the order for the Mets and Tommy Agee. He flew out to center in the 1st. And we have a 7 coming off the pitcher's card. It's take a gamble. There's no one on base. It's a double. It ricochets off the center fielder wall. Alert. Center fielder cuts it off, holding batter to a long single. I did not mention it, but the Mets with 19 points and the Phillies with 18 points. That makes the Mets the alert team. And he is not a bonehead runner, so he would be safe at second. So that's a leadoff double a 1-out double for Tommy Agee, and the Mets are in business. So Agee's on second base with 1 out for Felix Mian. And we have an 11 coming off of the batter's card. Lead runners picked off. Wow, that's interesting. Phillies set up a pickoff play, and they get Agee leading too far off of second base, and that's out number 2. Caught stealing. Whew. Mian's still up to bat. Well, there goes any chance for the Mets to get Agee in, but here's Mian, and we have a 10 coming off of the, off the pitcher's card. That's a pressure play. Against an alert team, pick a talent card. Against a careless team, pick an error. Well, the Phillies are the careless team, so we're going to flip till we get an error card, and we get an error card right off the top of the bat, and there's nobody on base. Batter attempts a bunt single as third base is stationed way back, but bunt rolls foul. If he's a fine bunter, it's a short single, but Mian is not. So I'm going to say the count's 1-1 on Mian. He's still up the bat here with 2 away. And we have a 4 coming off of the batter's card. It's a deep fly out. Back to the wall goes Bake McBride, but he's underneath it and makes the catch for out number 3. And after 3 innings of play, we have no score. Seaver back out. He's going to face Bake McBride, Mike Schmidt, and Greg Luzinski. And we have a 3 coming off the pitcher's card. And McBride gets a hold of this one, and it's way back. Cleon Jones is underneath it. He's against the wall, but he makes the catch for out number 1. A long, loud out for Bake McBride. Here's Mike Schmidt. Phillies are looking for something from Schmidt. He's been very quiet this series. We have a 10 coming off of the batter's card. It's a short single with a question mark. They're both righties, and that's a strikeout. That's strikeout number 4 for Seaver, and the 2nd out. Here's Greg Luzinski. And we have an 8 coming off of the batter's card, and Luzinski draws a walk. 2-out walk for Luzinski for Del Unser. We got a man on first and 2 away. And we have double 3s. And it's coming off the batter's card, and that's a short single. And on a short single, Runners advance one base with 2 outs. Daring runner on second base scores. Well, that doesn't apply here. So Luzinski's going to move up to second base on Unser's single. And the Phillies have first and second with 2 outs. And Gary Maddox, the center fielder. And we have a 5 coming off of the batter's card, and that's a single. Man on first moves to second. Other runners score, and the Phillies are on the board. 2-out RBI single from Gary Maddox scores Greg Luzinski. Del Unser holds up at second. Maddox gets an RBI. Now, we do have the plus sign here, but because second base is occupied, he, of course, is not going to try to steal. All right, so we have first and second with 2 outs, and Tim McCarver. Phillies lead 1-0. And we have a 10 coming off of the batter's card. That's a short single. The question mark, they are not the same handedness, so that is a single from McCarver. A short single. 2 outs, daring runner on second base scores. I doubt that Del Unser is a daring runner. He is not. He is a fast runner, but not a daring runner. So runners advance one base, and the bases are loaded for the Phillies with 2 outs. And Larry Boa. Seaver wants to get out of this jam. We have a 9 coming off of the batter's card. It's a hard ground out to second baseman Felix Mion. He's over to Art Shamsky. That's out number 3. But the Phillies do score a run on Gary Maddox's RBI single, and after 3.5 innings of play, it's the Phillies 1 and the Mets nothing. Carlton's out for the bottom of the 4th. Cleon Jones is the first batter. And we have a 5 coming off of the batter's card, and that's a single. Leadoff single for Cleon Jones. And the Mets are in business. Man on first, nobody out for Dave Kingman. We have a 4 coming off of the batter's card. That's a chopped ground out. Batter goes to first on a fielder's choice, and that's going to go to second base. So Kingman goes to first. Jones is forced at second, 4-6 for the first out. Here's Wayne Garrett. We have a 6 coming off the pitcher's card. That's a sharp ground out. First base is occupied. That's going to be a double play. And that goes to second baseman Dave Cash. So it's Cash to Boa to Unser. And any hope for the Mets in the bottom of the 4th is crushed on the double play. So after 4 innings of play, it's the Phillies 1 and the Mets nothing. Sorry about that. It seems like I left a card behind, but thank goodness I didn't know him batted out of order. All right. Shamsky will be up next for the Mets. Seaver's back out. He's going to face his counterpart, lefty Carlton. We have a 6 coming off of the batter's card, and that's a strikeout. That's strikeout number 5 for Seaver. And there's 1 away in the top of the 5th. Back to the top of the order for the Phillies. And here's Dave Cash. And we have a 7 coming off of the batter's card. It's a line fly out to right fielder. Dave Kingman for out number 2. Here's Bake McBride. He's 0 for 2 with a couple of flyouts. And we have a 6 coming off the pitcher's card. It's a sharp ground out to second baseman Felix Mion, over to Art Shamsky for out number 3. Phillies go 1-2-3 in the top of the 5th. And after 4.5 innings, the Phillies lead 1-0. Carlton's back out here in the bottom of the 5th. And he's got Art Shamsky, Jerry Grody, and Bud Harrelson. We got double 4s. And double 4s, it doesn't matter which card it's coming from. It's a strikeout, but I want to double check the dot symbol. That doesn't apply, I don't believe, in the advanced game, only in the master game, I believe. That's a strikeout for Carlton. That's strikeout number 2 for Carlton. Shamsky sent down, and there's one away here in the bottom of the 5th for the Mets. Here's Jerry Grody. We have a 3 coming off of the batter's card. It's a foul out to shortstop. Bud Harrelson in foul territory, or excuse me, Larry Bowe in foul territory makes the catch for out number 2. All right. Speaking of Bud Harrelson, here he is. 2 away, nobody on. And we have an 11 coming off of the batter's card. It's a deep fly out. Sends Gary Maddox back to the warning track, but he's underneath it and makes the catch for out number 3. So after 5 innings of play, it's the Phillies 1 and the Mets nothing. Seaver's back out in the top of the 5th, but he's leadoff next inning. That might be it for him. Here's Schmitty. That's a 5 coming off of the batter's card, and that's a leadoff walk for Schmidt. He's on first base with nobody out, and Greg Luzinski. Luzinski is 0 for 1 with a walk and a run scored. And we have an 8 coming off of the batter's card, and it's back-to-back walks for Seaver. And the Phillies are in business with runners on first and second, nobody out, and Del Unser up to bat. And we have a 9 coming off of the batter's card. It's an infield pop out. And let's see, a roll of 4-3-5-2. It's a fly out to second baseman Felix Mion for out number 1. And there's 1 away. Runners on first and second for Gary Maddox. Gary Maddox drove in the only run of this game. And that's a strikeout. So out number 2 and strikeout number 6 for Seaver. And now we got Tim McCarver. And we have a 6 coming off the pitcher's card. It's a sharp ground out to third baseman Wayne Garrett. Over to Art Shamsky for out number 3. Phillies threaten but do not score. And after 5.5 innings of play, it's the Phillies 1 and the Mets nothing. Bottom of the 6th, that's going to be it for Seaver. You want to get a pinch hitter in for him, and it's going to be Lee Mazzilli. He's going to pinch hit for Seaver. And the Mets are going to get some action in their bullpen. Let's see. Ray Sadecki, left-hander, and Ron Taylor, right-hander. They're going to warm up for the Mets. That could change depending on what happens here. So we got Mazzilli batting for Carlton here in the bottom of the 6th. Carlton. Boy, I don't know why I'm getting these names backward. Batting for Seaver. All right. Here's Lee Mazzilli against Steve Carlton. Mazzilli's switch hitter. He's batting from the right side. We have a 6, and that's a line off the batter's card. That's a line fly out to center fielder Gary Maddox. He's underneath that and makes the catch. And there's 1 away. Back to the top of the order, and Tommy Agee. We have a 5 coming off the pitcher's card. It's a slow ground out to third baseman Mike Schmidt, over to Del Unser for out number 2. That's a 5-3. And there's 2 away. Here's Felix Mion. He singled in the first. He's 1 for 2. We have a 6 coming off of the batter's card. It's a chop ground out to first baseman Del Unser. He's going to take that unassisted for out number 3. And the Mets go quietly in the bottom of the 6th. And after 6 innings of play, it's the Phillies 1 and the Mets nothing. That's going to be it for Seaver. Well, it was it for Seaver because Mazzilli pinch hit for him. Got Boa, lefty. And we're going to bring in right-hander Ron Taylor. Now, let's see here. Taylor. In the top of the 7th, Mazzilli pinch hit. Now, because Taylor and Boa are both... oh, no, Boa's a switch hitter, so it doesn't really matter. I was going to substitute the shutout card, but that does not apply here. All right, so it's going to be Boa, Carlton, and Cash for the Phillies. And we have a 10 coming off of the pitcher's card. It's a pressure play. And it's a double on a misjudged shallow fly to... He's batting from the left side. To right fielder Dave Kingman. Well, hold on. Star left fielder or star... Okay, so it went to left field. I'm sorry. A star left fielder or a star third baseman for the Mets. And I don't think that's going to be the case here. Garrett's not a star. Nor is Cleon Jones. So it is a double, leadoff double for Larry Boa. Boa's on second with nobody out, and Steve Carlton. Carlton is going to try to move him over to third base. And we're going to roll for that. Look at the sacrifice bunt chart. And we have a 5, and a 5 is a foul out. Runners hold. Well, we got to check Carlton's card. He's not a fine bunter, but it said if he was a fine bunter, it would have been a perfect sacrifice. But he fouls out to catcher Jerry Grody, and Boa holds at second, and that's out number 1. Top of the order, and Dave Cash here in the 7th. And we have a 7 coming off the pitcher's card. It's another gamble. And right now we have a man on second. A man on second. It's a line fly out to center field and runners hold. The Mets are not the careless defense, so that's what it is. So that's a line out to center field. Tommy Agee has that. That's out number 2 for the Phillies. Here's Bake McBride. And that's a 9 coming off of the batter's card. That's a chop ground out to first baseman Art Shamsky. He's going to take that unassisted for out number 3. So the Phillies put a runner on second base, Boa with the leadoff double, but he's stranded there. And after 6.5 innings of play, it's the Phillies 1 and the Mets nothing. Now we are in the top of the 7th, and Carlton's pitching a shutout, so he gets the shutout card as long as the shutout remains intact. And he's going to face Cleon Jones, Dave Kingman, and Wayne Garrett. We have a 6 coming off the pitcher's card. That's a sharp ground out to shortstop Larry Boa over to Del Unser for out number 1. 6-3. And there's 1 away. Here's Dave Kingman. We have a 9 coming off of the batter's card. That's a hard ground out to shortstop Larry Boa over to Del Unser. Once again for out number 2. Wayne Garrett. 2 outs, nobody on. We have a 5 coming off of the batter's card, and that's a 2-out single for Garrett. So he's on first with 2 outs, and Art Shamsky. Shamsky's 1 for 2 with a single in the 2nd inning. We have an 8 coming off of the batter's card. That's a hard ground out to second baseman Dave Cash over to Del Unser for out number 3. So the Mets put a man on base, but he doesn't get past first. And after 7 innings of play, it's the Phillies 1 and the Mets nothing. Ron Taylor's coming back out. He's going to face Schmidt, Luzinski, and Unser. We have a 10 coming off of the pitcher's card. That's a pressure play. And the Mets are the alert team, so we will draw a talent card, and that's an error card. The talent card, nobody on base. It's a single off the shortstop's glove, but his star shortstop makes a backhanded stab and bullet throw, and I believe Bud Harrelson is a star. Yes, he is. So Harrelson makes a good play, a diving stop, and a throw over to Archamsky for out number 1 here in the 8th. 6-3, and there's 1 away. Here's Greg Luzinski. Have a 5 coming off of the pitcher's card. That's a deep drive to center field. Tommy Agee driven back to the warning track near the wall, but he makes the catch for out number 2. Luzinski got a hold of that one, but just not quite enough. 2 outs, nobody on Del Unser, and we have a 7 coming off of the pitcher's card. Let's take a gamble. There's nobody on base. It's double into the right center gap. Star third baseman, double. Wait a minute. Star 3, second base, infield line. I don't think Mian's a star. No, he's not. He is not. So it's a 2-out double for Del Unser. And the Phillies have a man in scoring position with 2 outs, and Gary Maddox, who has the only RBI in this game. He had an RBI single in the 4th that drove in Greg Luzinski. And we have a 3 coming off of the batter's card, and that's a walk. So 2-out walk. And it's 1st and 2nd with 2 away for Tim McCarver. And we have a 6 coming off of the batter's card. It's a sharp ground out to second baseman Felix Mian over to Archamsky for out number 3. So the Phillies threaten but do not score in the 8th, and after 7.5 innings of play, it's the Phillies 1 and the Mets nothing. Carlton comes back out for the bottom of the 8th, still using the shutout card. It's Jerry Grody, Bud Harrelson, and the pitcher's spot. You got a double 1. It's coming off of the pitcher's card, and that's a short single. Leadoff single for Grody. So tying runs on first base. And here's Bud Harrelson. What kind of runner is Grody? He is a fast runner. We're just going to let Harrelson swing away. We got a 6 coming off of the batter's card. It's a chop ground out to first baseman Archamsky. He throws over, or first baseman Del Unser, he throws over to Larry Boa. Gets the force at second base on Grody. And Harrelson reaches first on a fielder's choice. And there's 1 away. And it's the pitcher's spot. And we're going to have a pinch hitter for Taylor. And that's going to be the Say Hey Kid. Willie Mays coming off the bench here for the Mets. In the bottom of the 8th. It's going to be Mays, a pinch hit. With 1 away and a man on first. And we have a 6 coming off of the batter's card, and that's a strikeout. That's strikeout number 3 for Carlton. And there's 2 away. Back to the top of the order for the Mets, and Tommy Agee with a man on first and 2 outs. We got double 4s. It's coming off the pitcher's card, so we have to pick an error card. And we have a man on first. Man on first, runner advances to second on catcher's throwing error. Star catcher picks the runner off of first. Is McCarver a star? I don't believe so. He is not. So, Runner advances to second on a throwing error. So I guess Harrelson tried to steal second, and they tried to pick him off, and McCarver threw it away, and he advances to second on the E2. So they both have one error in this game. All right, so Tommy Agee still at the plate, and Bud Harrelson, the tying run, is in scoring position, but there are 2 outs. And we have a 7 coming off the pitcher's card, and that's a strikeout. That's strikeout number 4 for Carlton, and he gets out of the jam. So after 8 innings of play, it's the Phillies 1 and the Mets nothing. Coming out to pitch is Ray Sadecki for the Mets. And he's going to face Boa, Carlton, and the top of the order, Dave Cash. So I got to write this down. Sadecki, Mays pinch hit. And it's Sadecki in the top of the 9th. All right, he's going to face Boa. And we have 4 coming off the pitcher's card. And it's leadoff walk for Larry Boa. So he's on first with nobody out. Going to try to move him over, get him in scoring position. So we're going to look at the sacrifice bunt chart. We have double ones. It's a bunt single for Carlton. And Boa advances to second base. Lefty lays down a perfect bunt, and the Mets have no play. And it's first and second with nobody out here for the Phils. I didn't mark Carlton at first. That's a single. And it's first and second. All right, top of the order, Dave Cash. Nobody out, men on first and second. That's a 7 on the batter's card. That's a line fly out to the right fielder, Dave Kingman. And that's out number 1. Here's Bake McBride. First and second with 1 out. We got a 5 coming off the pitcher's card, and that's a strikeout. First strikeout for Sadecki and the second out of the inning. Mets want to keep it close to have a chance to win it in the bottom of the 9th. First and second, 2 outs for Schmidt, who's been quiet. There's a 5 coming off the batter's card, and that's a walk. Sadecki didn't want any parts of Schmidt. Puts him on and loads the bases up for Greg Luzinski. It's not much better, right? All right, bases loaded, 2 outs, Greg Luzinski. You have an 8 coming off of the batter's card, and Sadecki walks in a run. My. So Boa scores on the walk, and the Phillies now lead 2-0. Bases loaded, 2 outs for Del Unser, and we have a 7 coming off of the pitcher's card, and it's take a gamble. And the batter safe at first, and runners advance 2 bases. The first baseman fumbles a ground ball, E4. It was a ground ball from third baseman Wayne Garrett that Art Shamsky fumbled. So Unser reaches base on an E3. Second error for the Mets, and they're falling apart here. So it is he's safe at first, Unser. Runners advance 2 bases. And that's going to score 2 more runs for the Phillies. And now they're up 4-0 with 2 outs. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sadecki is fatigued. And I don't have anybody warming up. So we're going to get somebody warming up now. But until we get somebody in there, which I would say is 2 batters, Sadecki, all of the results are going to come off the batter's cards, which is not good. And let's see. It's going to be Neil Allen. It's going to warm up. Mets are letting this one slip away. It's pretty much slipped away. But for the next 2 batters, if it goes on, the results are going to come from the batter's card because I didn't get anybody up warming up. But it's a 7 coming off of the pitcher's card. That's a take a gamble. Twisting foul pop, glances off catcher's glove for an error. Batter's still up. Star or 3 catcher, it's a foul out. Grody is a star catcher, so it is a foul out. Mets dodge a bullet there. So Maddox fouls out to Grody for out number 3. But the Phillies score 3 runs in the top of the 9th, and we go to the bottom of the 9th with the Phillies leading 4-0. Carlton comes out for the 9th inning with a shutout. Let me see how many hits the Mets have. 1, 2. Well, he's not close to a no-hitter, so I'm going to stop counting for now. But anyway, he's going to face Felix Millan, Cleon Jones, and Dave Kingman here in the bottom of the 9th with his shutout intact. And we have a 4 coming off the pitcher's card. It's a slow ground out to shortstop Larry Boa over to Del Unser for out number 1. And there's one away here in the bottom of the 9th for Cleon Jones. The Mets are down 4-0. It's a 9 coming off the pitcher's card. Jones gets behind this one and sends Greg Luzinski back to the warning track, but he makes the catch, and that's out number 2. Mets are down to their last chance. 2 outs, nobody on for Dave Kingman. And we have a 6 coming off the batter's card, and that's a single. 2-out single for Kingman, and that keeps hopes alive here at Shea. Those who are still here, those who haven't left. 2 outs, man on first for Wayne Garrett. We have a 7 coming off, and he gets a hold of this one. It's coming off the batter's card. He gets a hold of this one, drives Gary Maddox back to the warning track, back to the wall, against the wall, but he makes the catch for a dramatic 3rd out to end the inning and end the game. And there you have it, folks. The Phillies survive, and they get to go home back to the vet. They win Game 5 here in Shea Stadium, 4-0. An incredible performance from Steve Carlton. Let's see if we can get the totals for you real quick. Phillies had 4 runs on 6 hits, and they committed 1 error. The Mets, no runs on 1. On 5 hits, and they committed 2 errors. Of course, Steve Carlton gets the win with that performance. A 5-hit shutout. And the loss goes to Tom Terrific. So, the Phillies, well, I should say the Mets lead the series 3-2. And we go back to the vet. The Phillies, if they can win it at home, they have their chance. Another great game with time travel baseball. I don't think I made any mistakes, but who knows? The mental errors still might happen. I can't promise you that. But anyway, I always have a lot of fun playing this game, especially with these great cards from Daniel Forcier. I mean, just look at them. They're gorgeous. What can I say? And like I said, there will be a link in the description for this video that will allow you to get in contact with Daniel if you're interested in more information about his cards. Well, that's going to do it for this episode for Max's Cards and Dice Dugout. If you hung out to the end of this game, I appreciate and admire your patience. And until next time, take care.